Hi, welcome to Tales of Dread. A dogman is not just a werewolf by night, he will also haunt you during the day. I want to tell you about something bizarre I saw a few weeks ago. I won't say where I live, but it's a rural farm region with plenty of fields and cattle grazing. I was heading home from work at 7 p.m. I recall glancing to my left and having to double-take because of the magnitude of the animal I saw, a gigantic wolf chasing borrowed cow. This wolf creature was moving on 2 feet but bent over with its arms folded inwards. About 20 feet away from a cow, it sprang up, landed, and pounced on the cow. Holy shit, this beast tore it up in 30 seconds or less. Never seen that much blood so fast. I stopped my automobile to watch because I couldn't believe its enormity. He looked more like a timber wolf than a mutant coyote, and it was huge. It could have rivaled a lion's size. This cow wasn't even 100 feet out into the field, so I got a clear view of the whole scenario. I couldn't see where the wolf ran from because there wasn't much clearing. I was more amazed than scared. I saw a predator kill and prey in minutes. This creature devoured and tore apart the cow. After a few seconds, I left since there was nothing else to see and I didn't want to be next. Okay, I'm writing to you because I want to tell you about an incident I had a few months ago. I wanted no thought. Crazy. After conducting investigation, I realize they are actual animals and others have had similar encounters. So I'll just tell you what occurred. My kitchen has a wide breakfast nook overlooking my neighbor's cornfield. It's great to wake up to crows soaring and the sun beaming. Evening came. I was chopping chicken for a stir-fry with my back to the window. I recall suddenly feeling watched. It's like feeling something amiss in your gut. I had goosebumps and felt off. Without thinking, my senses told me to turn around. I turned to check whether anyone was watching me. To my horror, a huge wolf head was within 10 feet from my breakfast nook window. I didn't notice the head at first, only the yellow eyes looking into my soul. Freezing. I observed the wolf's huge head. Nearly fell. I couldn't shout or move from astonishment. The sight scared me. When I saw it squatting and peering at me, I recognized it had a human-like body, hands and claws, and wasn't a dog or wolf. After 5 seconds, I fled to my bedroom, got my rifle, and prepared for combat. My dinky gun wouldn't hurt this animal. I had a gun. I hid in my bedroom for an hour or two until I was courageous enough to check the kitchen. What I saw became darker and disappeared. This item never acted aggressively or maliciously. It was intrigued and watched me like a predator watching prey, yet it never moved or blinked. It looked like an upright walking wolf with humanoid traits in the body. The visage had a wolf-like nose. It had no teeth and never snarled or made sounds. I never smelled it or knew it was observing me. No idea how long it watched me. I wondered how and why this existed. Where? After digging, I linked cornfields and dogma. I see. The descriptions match what I saw, I'd say. I'm thankful it never broke in or damaged me. Unknown. Perhaps it was casing my place. No way. My buddy has posted here. He had the Ozarks experience in one of your episodes. I've also had strange Ozarks encounters in Arkansas. I like 3 to 5 day trekking expeditions around the country. I love Ozarks. I adore the weather, landscape, and serenity. I no longer view the Ozarks that way. After what I observed, I've never had bizarre encounters with animals. Bigfoot, UFOs, etc. What I found shocked me, and I still can't describe it. I haven't visited the Ozarks in years. When I got there, I came to a place near a creek and smelled a horrible stink. Dead and decaying smelled. I dismissed it since animals die and there are predators like bears. The fragrance was so overpowering I had to investigate. 20 feet max. I smelled right. Not 20 feet. Was likely a black bear. I wasn't gazing at a dead black bear, but a damaged, torn apart one. Bear, this monster appeared fresh and predatory. I had trouble processing what I said. This black bear appeared enormous, so I'd suppose it was a full-grown male. What rips apart a giant male black bear in the woods? Bear's surroundings were smashed. It seemed tense. Happened. Fights, resistance. When do wolves rip apart a bear in nature, judging from the broken up ground? The bear wasn't eaten after being killed. This was pulled apart. I didn't notice any traces, but the kill appeared recent, despite the coagulated blood. This kill happened within 24 hours. I've hiked this area before, but reportedly a massive alpha predator killed the spare. It didn't appear like it was eaten, whatever killed it just tore it up and left it. Now, you tell me what animal did that, and I ran as fast as I could. Who knows what I saw? Please inform me, animal specialists. What kills a giant black bear but doesn't eat it, leaving its body crushed and torn? I'm baffled. I've hiked many places and never seen something so strange. I've seen animals ripped apart and devoured, but never just slain. You're welcome. We observed a dog-wolf hybrid beside my cousin's house this summer. My cousin lives outside of NYC. I forget the town's name, but he has a lovely house with a wide backyard and lots of wildness behind it. We grew up together on the West Coast. His career took him to the East Coast, where he's remained for a while. We still talk sometimes. He phoned me and said I wouldn't believe him, but he wanted to tell someone. I advised him to test me, and he said he's seen Bigfoot on his land for months. Since April, he said. Remember? In July, they've peeked in his windows, gone about his property, and made loud sounds at night. He doesn't know what else they might be and thinks they're Bigfoot. He knows I'm into weird stuff, but I've never been into Bigfoot. I didn't trust him, but he encouraged me to stay at his house for a week to visit because it's been years. He's rich. He paid my plane ticket, and I visited him. We had a lovely rekindling and a few delicious beers when he picked me up at the airport. He showed me his beautiful neighborhood. His house hosted a big supper. The next day, we'd go look for Bigfoot. I slept in the guest bedroom and felt nothing unusual. I thought he was jerking my chain because there was no Bigfoot material. The next day was cloudy, but we still wanted to see the backyard. It blew my mind. He didn't have the tools to cast footprints, but they were all over his backyard, a large open meadow with a few trees. He showed me the tree line and where he's been seeing them, and you could tell that a lot of the bush had been knocked down and ripped apart. The next days were dull. Even my cousin thought it was unusual and informed me there was Bigfoot activity, but he hadn't heard or seen anything. On day 5, we drank beer on his back porch. We saw it, I think. We got off topic. I don't recall what we both felt was incorrect. My cousin thought it was a Bigfoot, but he's never felt in danger from him. From where we stood, we could see the wood line and the out-of-woods steps. This is a two-legged huge wolf. My cousin and I were shocked when it walked out, paused, and glanced our way. After a few seconds he asked, "What's that?" After a few seconds, it turned and headed back into the trees. We couldn't see much detail, but it was huge and like a timber wolf on two legs. It was hunched and ugly. After a few minutes, the sensation of fear faded gone, and we never saw Bigfoot again. A few days later, I flew home. That was a month ago, and I've been checking on him. He hasn't seen the wolf-like creature or heard of Bigfoot since then. He's probably told B.F.R.O. to make poi castings. I've got something interesting. I hope they like it. God bless Gus. Without him, I'd be dog food. I moved to Texas in 1987. I wanted land in eastern Texas that wasn't bone dry like much of western Texas, but I can't recall the town. This property was outside a small town a while back. My wife and I were country driving when we saw an old ranch house. It featured a large front yard, land, rolling hills, trees, a pond, and few neighbors. Loved it. Observed. On the front porch was a first sale sign and property brochure. My wife and I investigated further. The houses outside looked great. Things were clean and ordered. My wife thought the asking amount was a deal, and I couldn't believe this gem of a property remained unclaimed. Millennials, we used payphones to make calls. When we returned, I was going to phone this broker and make an offer. I was pleased to locate a great property in our dream location. As we're leaving, we spent 30 minutes there. The driver of a beat-up old truck drives by. Is he old? He approaches carefully. We walk to our car. We said hello, and he said he lived nearby. He inquired what we were doing and spoke. I told him we found a wonderful property for sale and were interested in making an offer. Gus's pleasant, cheery, welcoming manner transformed to worried and concerned. My wife and I simply glanced at each other, so I asked him what was wrong. He was silent for a minute. He looked down, unsure what to say. He whispered that the previous owner had several land issues. He mentioned the land has enormous black wolves. He said they ate his cattle, stole one of his children, and tried to break into his house many times. He claimed police had been here several times, but owing to the threat, PD had categorized this region as a danger zone and not to answer calls from this property. I assumed he was lying. I've never seen someone so fearful as they spoke before. I told him animal control or a park ranger should have handled the situation. I thought he was attempting to scare us away. I assured him we realized he didn't want us as neighbors and that we wouldn't raise a disturbance. I assured him we're nice people who don't do foolishness. He interrupted me and stated our safety is paramount. These wolves aren't typical. He's seen them on his ranch, devouring his animals and wreaking damage. He said they're as large as bison and vicious. I was still dubious about what he had just spoken, but I felt the air alter. The power that was bursting around us with life and commotion quieted down. The goat's eyes watered as in a twisted horror film. Nervousness set in. He told us not to believe him. We left to be safe. The sun was up and everything was getting dirty. My wife and I didn't believe him at the time, but we felt unsafe standing there since anything might happen. As we walked back to the car, I felt like someone was watching us from the house or nearby meadows. I'm not sure. Gus hurried quickly to his car, fumbled with his keys, and left without a glance. My wife and I didn't look back. I wasn't going to bid on his property. Not after Gus's advice. Even though I didn't believe him, I was uncertain. I took the home one more look and felt dread like never before. Even though years have passed and I don't believe in fairy tales or monsters, my intuition told me to leave that spot. I guess there was more keeping me from bidding on the home. Probably good? I mean, who knows? I'm delighted he steered us in the proper direction, it was probably for our safety. Anyway,